When someone leaves like their Army unit, maybe they PCS is what it's called, transferred over to another unit, maybe they got out of the Army, whatever, sometimes you get cool little parting gifts, little awards or other kind of cool little things to kind of remember your old unit. Sometimes you get absolutely nothing though, but I want to kind of explain about some of those things you might get and even show you some of the cool things that I have gotten in the past as well. The key thing with it is don't expect that you're gonna get something, hopefully hope that you're gonna get something, but it can happen where you just absolutely get nothing. And I've had that actually happen, and I'm sure there's some veterans out there that have had situations like this, especially maybe old school ones, maybe too, but more of your modern ones, you know, sometimes you have things that you'll receive, some kind of cool thing that, you know, you've been in this unit for X amount of years and the leadership kind of pools together to get some kind of cool award together, or just a regular Army award type of thing. It may kind of vary though. So let's start off with some things that I've received, and I'll kind of do a little show and tell, I guess, to show you some of the things that I've gotten when I've left units, because I have had multiple units in the Army. And then I'll also talk about some things you could possibly receive, because I've seen it out there. Some people that have gotten some pretty cool things, maybe recently or whatever. My very first unit, I was stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas, and I was with them for about 2-ish years before I went off to Korea. When I came up on orders for Korea and I went off to Korea, I didn't get anything from them. So it wasn't off to a good start. I think I got just a, hey, good luck to you. I don't even think I got an award or anything too. They were so busy preparing for JROTC at the time to get ready for, not JROTC, JRTC. They were so busy getting ready for JRTC to head off to Fort Polk that I think they kind of just forgot about me or whatever the kind of thing was. But I didn't get anything from my very first unit. That at the time there was 113 Armor. They're now 113 Cav, but I didn't get anything from them. From there, I went off to Korea, and I did get something from them. That I was in Korea for actually 2 years. I extended to stay there for an extra year longer because the Iraq War was starting up, and I was going to get involuntarily extended anyway. So I extended voluntarily, which would give me the option to be able to choose where I wanted to go to after that. But from them, I got a pretty cool plaque. So this was a pretty common thing that we would get in Korea. People from Korea usually ended up with cool things. For some reason, they have always just really awesome awards, I think, that they make in Korea. So a lot of people may have cool things to show off of what they got from Korea from their unit before going on to the next one. And I'm gonna try to show it to you without too much of a glare. Right about there, you can kind of see it. So this was the cool kind of plaque that I got, and I actually have 2 of them because what it was we got one for each year you were there. So I have one for the first year that I was there, and then I put in for a second one. I was like, hey, do I get a second one since I was here for 2 years? They're like, yeah. So I got a second one, and I have both of them hanging up on my wall. But this one shows, you know, from one year to the next year. This one actually specifically is my second year one. So this one shows the second year that I was there. The verbiage says the same, it's just the dates that are different. They have my JSA badge for the unit I was in, and then even my badge number at that time, which was 125. And so this was the cool thing I got from Korea. And a lot of people, if you ask them, like if they were stationed in Korea and if they got anything from Korea, a lot of times it was a pretty common thing that people would get some kind of cool, something similar like this or something awesome from Korea. I don't know what the deal was with Korea, but Korea usually would produce some kind of cool little like parting gift. From Korea, I went to the 3rd ACR at the time when they were in Fort Carson, Colorado, and I was with them for, a couple years before they went off to Fort Hood, and I re-enlisted so I could stay at Fort Carson and go to a different unit. And I got kind of probably not that cool of a thing, but I got this small little plaque. I feel like it was kind of very inexpensive, kind of a thing that someone probably was just like, hey, let's throw together some money for some of these people that are staying at Carson, going to different units, and then a bunch of us are going off to Fort Hood, Texas, so this was cheap to give it to a bunch of people, so several of us that were staying in Fort Carson got something like this. Not that cool, but hey, I guess it was better than nothing, right? Better than the nothing that I got, you know, from Fort Riley from that unit. So a little something, nothing super amazing, but a little something. From that unit, I went over to 410 Cav there on Fort Carson, and that was actually my last unit. So that was the last unit I was a part of. That was the unit I was getting out of the Army from, and they failed me, but also kind of did some cool stuff. Like, you're supposed to get like some kind of ETS award, some kind of award for getting out of the Army and all that stuff. And even now, they usually, I think, actually have it as a requirement when you go to clear the Army. At that time, they just had to have a rough draft. and mine never made it past the rough draft because they were preparing for, again, I think JRTC, another unit that was kind of preparing to go do that. So their mind was elsewhere, and they didn't really kind of get around to it. Plus, I kind of had a crappy platoon sergeant. That was my last platoon sergeant, but I didn't get an award. They put me in for a meritorious service ribbon or medal, and they had the draft of it, but then it never went through. I didn't get that. But I did get a cool little parting gift, I guess, and this is what they got me for getting out of the Army. So I got this cool little statue thing that you maybe have seen like in the background of some of my videos, but this was pretty cool. There was actually me and another NCO that was getting out of the Army that time frame. We both got one, you know, and has our own little kind of inscriptions. Mine's pretty dusty because it just collects dust back there, but this was actually a pretty cool one. This was a pretty cool little statue kind of award type of thing that they kind of presented me and the other individual with. They were both getting out of the Army. He was an E6, I was an E5, and so we both got this cool little kind of infantry soldier kind of thing or whatever with the patch, because I was in the 3rd Infantry Division or 4th Infantry Division. So this was kind of the cool statue that we got. So this one was pretty cool. Didn't get that cool ETS award, but I did get a little statue that looks pretty cool in the background back there. Now let's kind of talk about some possibility for other awards. I mean, those are some of the ones that I received, but there's other things that I've seen people receive, some cool things that they've gotten. So let's talk about some other possibilities of things that you might get if you do get something in the first place, I guess. One I got kind of back here on the wall. Let me grab it. Now, you may or may not have seen this kind of the background of my videos up on the wall kind of a thing, but I got this cool little championship belt made by Pro-Am Belts, and I'll actually link them down in the description box for them. But I had this made. This wasn't actually anything cool presented to me, but I just wanted something cool. I have a thing for like championship belts. I think they're awesome, and I just think they look cool. So I wanted to do a championship belt that was kind of like this cool, like honor to myself, I guess. Maybe that I could pass on my family, you know, maybe down to my daughter or whatever, to, you know, remember what Dad did in the Army. And this is kind of like a little belt to kind of commemorate what I did in the Army that kind of gives a little thing about like the ranks I was, my ribbons, you know, my job, my deployments, the units I was in, all the unit patches on it. So just kind of a cool little keepsake to kind of remember my time in the Army that I wanted to be able to kind of have. So I got with Pro-Am Belts. They made this awesome belt. I gave them the designs and everything like that and had it made. But I have seen like on their website, like some other cool belts that they have made for people like retiring out of the Army, even ones they've done for like, you know, like Top Gun, you know, for tankers, you know, or other branches of services that do something cool and awesome, and they have a belt to kind of commemorate the awesomeness. But I've also seen a couple of retirement belts. So this would be awesome. Like if you're someone out there that's thinking about retiring, maybe put the bug in the ear of maybe like, you know, someone to have one of these made by like Pro-Am Belts to get this as a retirement gift, because I feel like this would be a pretty awesome retirement gift. So potentially, I've seen it out there because it's on like their website. So check out Pro-Am Belts down in the description box down below, but possibly an awesome championship belt to kind of commemorate your time in the Army or something cool that you did or a cool unit. I mean, probably not a cool thing like you're just transferring from one unit to another unit, but if we got maybe some retirees out there, you know, this might be something pretty awesome. One that I saw quite often for like in the cav for officers was sabers. They would do this cool thing for like officers, like platoon leaders that were leaving, you know, a company commander or whatever, or troop commander, and they had this cool like cross sabers kind of a thing. Usually it's inside of a frame, and that was always pretty cool. I always thought that would be pretty awesome to receive, but I only saw it as officers would receive it, but that was a pretty cool gift that possibly if you're an officer in a cav unit, then maybe when you leave that cav unit to move on to something else, whatever, then maybe you get some cool cross sabers inside of a plaque or inside of a frame kind of a thing. Sometimes you just get a coin, not specifically like this kind of a coin, but you know, whatever coin from your unit. Sometimes your company commander, troop commander, battalion commander, whatever may kind of pass off a coin to you. And I guess, like I said, it's better than nothing. I would have been happy. I wouldn't probably have been happy, but I mean, it would have been better than nothing if I had gotten like a coin from my first unit when I left them. But you know, maybe just a coin. Sometimes you get absolutely nothing, right? I mean, that happens. I've told you about sometimes how I had that happen. There's probably some people out there that have had that happen. I'd love to hear from some of my veteran viewers out there. What was something that you have gotten from like past units? You'd leave from one unit to another unit, got out of the Army, whatever the case was, maybe retired. And what was some cool kind of parting gifts that you received? I'd love to hear about those down in the description box, or the comment section actually down below. So leave me comments down below. What were some cool things you got when you left a unit or got out of the Army? Or even maybe the military too. If I got some like Air Force, Navy, you know, Marines, whatever kind of viewers out there, and you got something cool, I'd love to hear about those as well. But sometimes you get something, sometimes you get nothing. So hopefully you get something cool. And if you do, I would love to hear about it. So make sure to tell me all about the cool parting gift that you got when you got out of that unit or got out of the Army or whatever the case was. Check out links down in the description box down below for Pro-Am belts that made that awesome belt for me, and I'm hoping to work with them here pretty soon here in the future with another awesome belt. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. Check out some of these other videos that maybe popped up on the screen. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm Christopher Chaos. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time. See ya.